You already know the ocean surrounds you. It covers 70% of the planet you live on. It touches every coast. It fills every gap between continents. 12 humans have walked on the moon. 680 have traveled to space. Only 27 have reached the deepest point on your own planet. The most alien place on Earth is not far away. It is underneath you right now, and you have been standing on its ceiling your entire life, without knowing what crawls beneath it. There is a world inside your world that does not use your sunlight, does not follow your rules, and has been growing creatures longer than anything on land has existed. Nobody who has seen it has described it in words you would recognize. Your front door leads outside, and you open it every day. But there is another door in your house you never open. It leads somewhere that makes the outside look familiar. That door is the surface of the ocean. Right now, beneath every wave you have ever seen, the deep ocean begins. It starts at 200 meters and does not stop for another 10 kilometers. The pressure at the bottom increases by 1 atmosphere every 10 meters, meaning the weight of the entire sky stacks on top of you with every step you descend. If you dropped Mount Everest into the Challenger Deep, the deepest trench on Earth, its peak would still sit more than 2,000 kilometers below the surface. The Everest is submerged, still not touching the ceiling. We have mapped 27% of the ocean floor to modern resolution. We have mapped 100% of the moon. We have mapped 100% of Mars. The ground beneath your own waves, the ground you actually live on, remains mostly blank. And 3/4 of the creatures in that blank space glow. So what lives in the blank space? And why does it glow? That question will not be answered until the climax. But right now, the door you never opened is waiting. In 1872, a converted British Navy corvette named HMS Challenger sailed 68,000 nautical miles over 3.5 years. It dredged the ocean floor with ropes. It discovered 4,700 new species. It found the deepest point on Earth with nothing but a weighted line. That expedition founded the science of oceanography. The space race had NASA, but the ocean had a single wooden ship with a dredge. Today, the Seabed 2030 project aims to map the entire ocean floor by 2030. As of 2025, they've reached 27.3%. The rate has picked up from 6% in 2017, but 73% is still unmapped. We can spot a house-sized feature on Mars. On most of our own ocean floor, we can only see things larger than 5 kilometers. Humans have directly observed less than 0.001% of the deep sea floor. If the deep ocean were a 300-page novel, we've read fewer than 3 words. The ground you live on is mostly uncharted. The house you stand in has a basement you've never entered, and that basement is the size of every continent combined. So we've barely looked at the map, but what happens when you actually go down there? The pressure at the bottom of the ocean crushes steel. Imagine what it would do to a body. Think of pressure like a staircase you walk down. Every step adds 1 entire atmosphere of weight on top of you, the weight of the whole sky, stacked. At the surface, you feel 1 atmosphere. At 10 meters, 2. At 1,000 meters and 100, at the Challenger Deep, you feel over 1,000 atmospheres pressing on every square centimeter of your body. That's 1,000 skies. 1.25 tons per square centimeter. It is like a small car sitting on each fingernail-sized patch of your skin. 100 adult elephants standing on your head. 50 jumbo jets stacked on your chest. At this point, your lungs would collapse, your sinuses compress, and your eardrums rupture. Every air-filled cavity in your body folds inward. The ocean settles at the bottom, and the things settle. Pressure settles over everything. and creatures settle in. They colonize. They make homes. The word does double work, both meanings true. And yet something lives down there. The Hadal snailfish, Pseudoliparus swirae, lives at 8,076 meters. Small, pink color, and scaleless. It's so transparent you can see its liver through its skin. Its skeleton is softer than cartilage because hard bones would crack under that pressure. So it doesn't fight the crushing, but it absorbs the pressure. It became soft enough that the pressure couldn't break it. So pressure crushes steel, but not jellyfish. What does that tell you about the rules down there? And what else is living in the dark that we haven't seen? The midnight zone starts at 1,000 meters. No sunlight reaches there, ever. Not at noon, not at the equator even, not on the brightest day of the brightest year. It's permanent, absolute, irreversible darkness. The biggest habitat on planet Earth by volume has zero natural light. Three-quarters of all deep-sea creatures produce their own light. In the permanent midnight, most things glow. The deep ocean runs on biochemistry, not electricity. The biggest light show on Earth happens in a place where your eyes are useless. The barrel-eye fish, Macropina microstoma, has a completely transparent, fluid-filled head dome. Its bright green tubular eyes rotate inside this dome, looking upward through its own skull to spot prey. It literally sees through its forehead. It steals food from the stinging tentacles of siphonophores, while its transparent head shields its eyes from venom. The anglerfish carries a glowing lure on its forehead. The male anglerfish is 1 inch long. He fuses permanently into the female's body and dissolves into her. He becomes an appendage. In some species, the male is smaller than the female's lure alone, and it's the most extreme sexual dimorphism in the vertebrate world. Evolution didn't ask for permission, and it didn't consult a design committee. It built creatures that glow in permanent darkness, see through their own skulls, and dissolve their males into accessories. These aren't exceptions. This is the majority. So the creatures replaced your sun with their own chemistry. But something happened in 1960 that makes all of this stranger. A door opened. 2 men went through it, and one of them saw something that shouldn't have been there. January 23rd, 1960. Jacques Piccard, Swiss oceanographer and son of the man who invented the bathyscaphe, and Don Walsh, a U.S. Navy lieutenant, descended into Challenger Deep in a vessel called Trieste. The observation sphere had steel walls 5 inches thick. They went deeper than Mount Everest is tall. A crack appeared in the viewing port at the bottom. They spent 20 minutes in the deepest place on Earth, and they saw a fish. A flatfish in the depth of the ocean, under 1,000 atmospheres of pressure, in permanent darkness, where no fish should be, where nothing should survive, where scientists had predicted the ocean floor was a dead zone. A living thing stared back at them through a cracked window. Nobody went back for 52 years. Between 1960 and 2012, humans built the International Space Station, landed rovers on Mars, and sent probes past Pluto. 2 crewed expeditions reached Challenger Deep. In the 52 years, only 2. On March 26, 2012, filmmaker James Cameron made the first solo dive to Challenger Deep in a torpedo-shaped sub called Deep Sea Challenger. He descended in 2 hours, 36 minutes. He spent 3 hours on the bottom, where he collected samples. He filmed them, and then he surfaced. More humans have walked on the moon than have touched the deepest point of the ocean you live on. The wall between you and that world is thinner than you think. It's the surface of the water you swim in. It's the floor of the boat you sit on. It's the ceiling of the house you sleep under. And behind that wall, an entire biosphere operates on rules you never agreed to. The deep ocean accounts for over 95% of Earth's living space by volume. All the forests, grasslands, deserts, cities, and mountains you've ever seen, every place humans live, occupy less than 5%. The abyssal zone alone covers more of Earth's surface than all continents combined. If Earth's living space were a house, you live in the attic. The deep sea is every other room, every floor, every basement. And most of those rooms glow. 75% of deep-sea creatures produce their own light. You heard that number earlier, and it probably landed as a statistic. Hear it again. They glow because they replaced your sun. They aren't waiting for daylight. They aren't adapting to darkness. They built their own light. They never needed yours. Nobody went back for 52 years. The door you never opened leads inward, not outward. Not to some distant planet requiring a rocket. It leads to a world inside your own home, under your floorboards, beneath your feet, inside the planet you've lived on your entire life. The ocean isn't outside, but it's underneath. It was here before the house was built. It doesn't need the lights you installed. And it has been growing creatures that glow, dissolve, see through their own skulls, and survive pressures that crush steel. Creatures that don't know you exist and wouldn't care if they did. The most alien world on Earth isn't in space. It's embedded inside your planet. It's been here longer than anything on land. It operates on rules you didn't write. It grows creatures that don't need your categories. And it occupies 95% of the living space on the world you call home. You already knew the ocean surrounds you. It covers 70% of the planet. It touches every coast. But you didn't just learn about pressure and bioluminescence. You learned that an alien biosphere has been running inside your own planet this entire time, running on chemistry instead of sunlight, building bodies instead of breaking them, growing creatures that see through their own heads and dissolve their males, and doing all of it in 95% of your living space without asking your permission. Somewhere beneath your feet right now, a creature with a transparent skull is rotating its eyes upward through its own forehead to watch prey it will steal from venomous nets. A fish with no hard bones is absorbing crushing pressure that would fold steel. An entire ecosystem is glowing without your light. They don't know you're up here, and they don't care. The question worth sitting with isn't what lives in the deep ocean. It's what lives inside your own world that you've been walking past every day without opening the door. Like and subscribe if you want me to open more doors you've been walking past. Next one's even darker.